Man, this Potter Real Estate Group, I tell you, we're on top of things, especially with our topic today.
Yeah.
Because our topic today is kind of interesting, I feel like.
I agree. I'm excited.
I feel like it's a combination of questions that I get asked a lot. So we thought, why not do a podcast that describes and breaks down some of these things so that we can help the public out. And so do you want to address what those things are?
Today we will be talking about home improvements and what actually adds value and return and what not to waste time, energy, and money on.
Ooh, that's good.
That is good.
I feel like there's the big question is always like, what should I do and what shouldn't I do when it comes to updates or quote unquote maintenance items as it pertains to our house. And I feel like there's some things that we kind of know, but then there's other things that we might not know. And so I feel like there's some good things to get into as far as just what is it that actually adds value to my home and what are things that are just maintenance items that they're good that you do them, right? Like I feel like the best illustration to kind of use in comparison is like, you know, when you have your car and you put new tires on it, like new tires doesn't add value to your car, right? But like it's something that has to get done or like there's going to be too much wear and tear and eventually things are going to break down if it doesn't, right?
Right.
So like, is that nice when I go buy a new car? Yeah, like it's great to have a car that has newer tires on them, right?
Yep.
So same type of thing as it relates to some of these items and different things that we're going to share with you. But then there's going to be other things that I think we're going to share with you that relate to adding value to the home, right? So I feel like let's just dive in because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we're going to cover in this podcast.
Yeah, I do have a variety of questions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So.
It means I need to get ready.
You're ready.
Yeah.
I guess we could go based off of, you just said maintenance and upgrades a bit. What is the confusion between maintenance and upgrades that you think most buyers and sellers have?
I think we need to address something right away, and that is the emotion that goes into like owning one of the biggest assets of your entire life, right? So there's obviously like a lot of emotion that goes into determining a price in a house and what you're going to get when you're going to list the house, or even when you're a new buyer and you're going to buy a house. There's certain things that like you're looking for as a buyer, right? Because you don't want to go buy a house, typically, especially if it's your first home that you're buying, and have to spend a ton of money upgrading certain things, right? So typically, like I would say, like the big ticket items, right? You hear that a lot when it pertains to like inspections and other things like that, right? Like, hey, we're looking for the big ticket items. Like, what are those things that we're looking at, right? And I would say foundation, roof, particularly sometimes driveways, not all the time, but like I think you've got windows that are part of that sometimes. So HVAC, so like big ticket items, right? Like those things are going to cost more than like $2,000 to like fix, right?
Right.
So like typically like what I like to educate and tell buyers is, you know, hey, like these things are older, right? So like you're going to want to start putting away some money, or at least save some money from your down payment or whatever to address some of these items later on down the road with home ownership, right?
Right.
What typically happens, though, unfortunately, I think in a lot of cases is people are told that up front, and then they live in the house 7-8 years, and they're like, oh, we never got to it, right? Well, now you're 7 or 8 years on top of the things that we already knew were old, right? So, like, now it's just that much older, which isn't necessarily a bad thing in a lot of cases, but I think, you know, as a new buyer comes in when you're ready to sell, like they're going to be looking for those same things, and they're going to see that, oh, this is a lot older than what the average age is on these things. I think the biggest thing, honestly, right now, that is a challenge and that is causing quite a few issues, is even just with like homeowners insurance and like roofs. You know, like, oh, your roof's 8 years old. Yeah. And what's the problem? Well, it's 8 years old. Okay, that's great, but it's got a 25-year warranty on it. So it still has, you know, a ton of years of life left.
Yeah.
But like there's this constant battle. Well, if it was brand new, like, you know, your homeowner's insurance would be lower. Well, that's great, but like we're not going to just put a new roof on just because we need a newer roof, right? Like,
right.
There's a reason why there's a 25 or 30-year warranty like on that roof. And if it's in year 8 and we've had a roofer go up there and inspect it, like, and it's in great condition, why would we put a new roof on just because we can put the year 2025 on it?
Right.
So I think that's like one issue, and that's, you know, something that we're constantly dealing with in today's market. And then I just think like there's a lot of other things that this, you know, people ask me all the time, like, why do you like older houses so much? And I'm like, well, it feels like the bones were just that much better, right? So like a house that's 100 years old, like I would go purchase in a heartbeat because
compared
I know
to like new construction.
Yeah, like, and that's not to knock like new construction. It's just back in those days, like it was just different. You know, like things were done differently, and which is kind of weird because with technology and all that stuff, like it should be
better.
You know, better.
Yeah.
But I think there's more corners and easier corners to cut nowadays, and different things like that too. Or there's like cheaper versions of wood or material or different things like that like I just don't think were as good that were used like back 100 years ago or so. Like,
right. Yeah.
So with that being said, like I think there's always gonna be things that need to be fixed, addressed, replaced, updated, right? So again, to get back to like the topic, you know, what are those things? Like if I'm a homeowner, what are those things that I should look at, you know, and do prior to like listing? But also like, what are those things that I should be aware of that if I'm moving into the house and I'm a brand new homeowner, like what should I be looking at as far as upgrading while I live here?
Yeah.
Right. If that makes sense. And am I going to get my money back, or what percentage of my money do I typically get back from like those things? So let's get into that stuff. What do you got over there? What kind of questions you got? Brittany had some good ones. She was asking me before we
did have some good ones
on the show.
You're right. Okay, so do you think fixing smaller things like leaky faucets adds to the home value? Or would it be like a whole bathroom upgrade?
Definitely a whole bathroom upgrade. I mean, obviously, if you're fixing a leaky faucet or pipes or anything like that, like that's a maintenance issue that should be addressed right away. Like no homeowner that's coming to buy your house or that's looking at your house is going to want to purchase your house if there's been leaking. And like any water whatsoever is never a good thing for a house, right? Like it can cause mold. It can deteriorate wood and a lot of other things. Like, I mean, one of the main things when we first moved into our house, like we knew it and we saw it when we bought, but I think we're kind of getting deeper than we anticipated as far as like there was a leak downstairs in our basement in like this window area. And like the more and more we've uncovered, it's like, oh, this was an ongoing issue for a while. And the wood's deteriorating, and it's like a major beam that like runs through. So like we're gonna have to replace that beam at some point, like down in that room, because like that's holding up like our second floor or whatever. It's in like our exercise room, so it's not like, do I need to address that right now? No. Do I need to address that fairly soon? Probably, like, because who knows how long that's been going on, and if there is water still getting in, like I want to find that and do it, right? Like I want to take care of that problem. Is that going to add value to my home if I do that? No, but it's going to help not cause other issues moving forward, right?
Right.
So like anything that has to deal with like water, plumbing, like all those things, I would highly suggest getting that done. I think another big ticket item that I didn't mention that tends to come up in older neighborhoods is like tree roots getting into like the sewer line, and that those old like pipes where roots can actually like grow into them and cause like tons of damage from your water actually getting from the house to the street. And that sometimes like comes up as issues. There's one in our neighborhood that like I think it was a $20,000 like fix.
Holy
you know, like it's
cow.
not cheap.
Yeah.
So how do you get that? How do you get that looked at? Well, the only way to know that is if you get your plumbing scoped when you're buying your house. Now, typically, like, I'm not really, I mean, it's something that you should be aware of and look for. So, like, what I'm looking for when I go show houses, especially like in older neighborhoods, it's like, are there any big trees like in the front yard or around the house that I think would possibly cause that issue, right? And so, like, if we do think that, then we get the sewer line scoped, you know?
So how old would that neighborhood need to be? Like, how many years are you?
I mean, I
Like,
would probably say, like, if you're 40, 50 years into that neighborhood plus, and you got a big tree in the front, like, there's probably a good chance that you have some tree roots growing through that line if it's never been replaced, right? And it depends on, like, the area of town, too. Like, some of them are made from different materials. So, like, you know, if you don't have, you know, obviously, like, the best material is going to be, like, that PVC, like, piping going straight out to, like, it's not going to corrode or deteriorate or any of that stuff. But, like, as you get into some of these, like, cast iron and, like, clay and some of these other types of pipes, like, over the years, those are going to like break down, right? Like those are going to get corroded and they're going to need to be cleaned out, if anything, at some point. And that's sometimes like all you need too is like, you just need somebody to get in there and clean that line out. Where, even if there's tree roots growing in there, as long as you keep it cleaned, you don't necessarily have to replace that line, but it's definitely something to be aware of, you know, and something that you can't really see, right? So you don't know until you actually do it. So again, it's just like that could be a big ticket item that, you know, especially if you're aware of other houses in the neighborhood that have had those issues, like you want to probably get it checked out. Yeah.
So basically maintenance doesn't add value. And I think sometimes people think that, but it's upgrades that do. Would you say that's a...
Yeah. So I think that like, in that scenario, right? Like if I pay $20,000, I know it sucks and I have to like spend that money to replace that main line out to the main road. That's not adding value to my home, right? Like it stinks that I had to just pay that. But that doesn't increase the value of my home. It'll definitely entice a home buyer when somebody does come and buy to know that like that's been replaced and you know it's coming with a warranty and all that other kind of stuff. That would probably like entice a buyer to be like, oh, that's good to know that I don't have to worry about that ever, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So would you say move-in ready? When there's like that description in MLS, move-in ready, is that, okay, we have no upgrades whatsoever, but all of our maintenance is up to date? Or is it basically everything's maintained, but we also have these bathroom updates, kitchen updates? Like what is move-in ready to you?
That's good. That's good that you added to you onto that because I feel like we've all seen it, especially if you've ever like been looking for a house. It's like move in ready, you know, turnkey ready. Like, well, what does that mean? Right? Like when it's such a broad statement that it can mean so many different things. Like I've gone into houses before where like that's been used as like the description. I'm like, okay, it's move-in ready in the sense that like there's no furniture in here and but like it definitely needs updating, right? So like same thing with like turnkey ready. Okay, like it's turnkey, but like these bathrooms aren't updated, you know? So in my opinion, like if I'm going to use that description move-in ready and what I can speak on behalf of like buyers that I've worked with and getting their feedback. Like when they read or they hear move in ready, they're like, I don't have to do a dang thing when I move into this house, right? Like the kitchen's been updated. The bathrooms have been updated. There's new flooring. There's new paint. There's new HVAC. Maybe there's a new roof that's been added onto that, but like everything is pretty much new, right? Like when would you use that term? Honestly, like if I would use that term, it'd be like a house that's been flipped or a brand new construction home.
Yeah.
Like I'm not using that if somebody just updated their flooring or they just updated a kitchen. Like or it's not move-in ready when the bathrooms need to be updated or the carpet's disgusting. Like, so I just think that like that term can mean so many different things to people out there, but from a buyer's perspective, from a real estate agent's perspective, that's a top producing agent in this market and has been for years. Like I would say like, if you're going to use those terms, like I think in a buyer's mind, I'm speaking on behalf of the buyer. When they read that, they think new.
Yeah.
Like they think, okay, I can move into this house, and I like envision like the widow or like the single girl that's like, I have no background in any type of handiwork. I don't have any money to pay a handyman. Like I envision those are the people that like you're trying to attract. Yeah. To like get them into the property where it's like, hey, you don't have to worry about doing any of this stuff because it's been done, right? Now that may not be what the intention was of the listing agent or the seller by writing those things, but like if I'm gonna write that stuff, that's typically when I would use that language, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. Like as someone who would potentially buy at 24, that's what I would expect. You know, when you see the move-in ready and then you go to the home and it's like, there's so much that I have to fix on top of this list price. So that makes sense.
And it's honestly like deflating for like, I think a buyer when they read that or they see that and then they get there and they're like kind of bummed out that like, why did we even come to this place? You know? Yeah. So I think that's another reason why like descriptions are important. Like as you're describing the house to people. And even why pictures are like really important. Like we hire a professional photographer for a reason, because we want our pictures to like actually show what that property looks like and not distort anything. Yeah. Or like make it look like, oh, that's kind of a blurry picture. I can't really make out what that like. Don't leave any reason for somebody to question what it is that you're describing. Yeah.
That's very true. I've seen some houses on the MLS that don't have any photos, and I find that very odd.
Yeah, and you know what my response is to that? What? Don't go see it.
I would not, because I need, like you said, first showing is online.
Yeah, your first showing is online, always. So, like, I tell my sellers that, like, hey, our first showing, like, oh, we haven't had any showings. No, we have. We've had 1,200 people that have seen your house already. And we have 50 people that have liked it and saved it. So like your first showing is online. So that's why the photos are important. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. The second showing is when you actually get them there to tour your house. Right. And that's the second showing of like, hey, we got somebody to actually come and look at like our property. And now our percentages are a lot higher that someone's going to actually like make an offer. Right. But yeah, I think that's why it's so important to showcase. So if you do updates, like, or you do have certain things about that listing that like you think set this property apart, you want to showcase that and have photos for it, right? Like don't just write it in the description and then not have a photo for it. Yeah, so,
right. I would agree. Yeah. So with that, is curb appeal actually important? Like if you have a beautiful home inside, it's perfect, but the grass is overgrown, there's weeds, all that backyard you go and it's like, oh my gosh. Is that actually important? Do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, like aside from what I just said of your house being online, like, and that being your first showing, like if the front of your house looks disgusting online, no one's going to come look at that house. Right. Or the person that you're going to get to come look at that house is going to be someone that lowballs you and is an investor that probably wants to buy the house and fix it up a little bit and do some yard work and then rent it out to someone. Right. So like if that's not your typical person that you want to buy your house, then yeah, take the time to hire someone or go out there and get rid of all that stuff and make sure that the curb appeal is, because that's the first thing that people see when they actually get to the house.
Right.
Right? Aside from the picture of it going and being online, you know, like people that are even just driving by or coming to check out the neighborhood, like that's the first thing they're looking at. So you want to make sure that my house looks good from the outside. Next question should be, well, like, what are those things that we should be doing? Well, like, it's a pretty simple thing, but like even thinking about power washing like your house before photos get listed.
So what would
like,
that do?
Well, I think if you power wash your house, like it's going to get rid of all the dirt and everything and bring out the actual like paint color of your house on the exterior to show people, and it's going to just look better in photos, right? And it's a simple, easy thing to do. Like there's people that will come power wash your house for a fairly cheap price, you know, and it doesn't take very long. Or you can power wash your house, you know.
Do you think it's important to power wash the driveway? It's kind of random.
I mean, not really. Like, I mean, especially here in Nebraska, like we have so many different driveways and things. Like, I mean, even like I can't tell you how many times like I go to a house and pull up and there's like rust on the driveway or there's oil or there's I mean, yeah, maybe if there's like some big oil spots and things like that, you might want to try to like clean up, but it's tough to get that off of concrete, to be honest with you. Like, so the only real way to get rid of those things is probably just to replace it, but I'm not replacing driveway or concrete unless I actually have to.
Yeah.
But that's a good one to say, like, does that increase my value? No. I think that's another maintenance thing of like, hey, if I have to replace my driveway, like that entices another buyer to be like, oh, sweet, we got a brand new driveway. But that doesn't add a whole lot of value to your property, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So
what would you say to sellers, I guess specifically? I'm sure you don't know like exactly what, but how, like, what are things that they can do each year or every other year where it's like, I'm keeping up with the maintenance of my home so I don't get to the point where I'm like, I got to call Ryan, I'm ready to list. Oh, crap, I literally have this long of a list of maintenance that I need to do.
Well, I think the first thing is, you know, typically, you know, hopefully, I know when things were crazy, this might not be the case for everyone, but like you have an inspection report, right? So like if you have an inspection report that you had done on your house, I would say running through that report and just being like, okay, have we addressed these issues that like came up on our inspection? If you haven't, I would say address those. If you didn't get an inspection, I think you can obviously call an inspection company and they'll come do what we call a pre-inspection. So they'll come do it and get it to a point where like, you know, okay, prior to listing, these are the things that I need to get done. And this will make a buyer feel more enticed to buy my property. Also gives me a peace of mind knowing that like, okay, there's not going to be some random weird major thing that took place like on this inspection that just caught me off guard. At least doing the pre-inspection, you're like, okay, well, it looks like we need a new roof. So like, let's call our insurance company and file a claim. And if there's hail damage or whatever, or if your roof is just too old and the inspector's like, hey, there's quite a few spots up here that I would probably just maybe get a new roof put on or whatever the case is. Like, I think then you're kind of preparing your mind to get ready. Like I say all the time, I'm like, keep your house list ready. So like, what does that mean? You know, like I would say obviously like the 6 month to a year checkup on your HVAC, like paying a company, like we have a program set up where we literally like the company calls us every 6 months. They're like, hey, you're due for your, you know, your 6 month checkup and it's like the dentist, right? It's like, okay, here you go. We're sending over an HVAC guy just to come clean it, to come check everything out. If there's anything that needs to be changed out or fixed, like they're letting you know, right?
Right.
So I think that will help make your HVAC. And when you can show those reports to a potential buyer that like, hey, we've had this checked every 6 months, like it's a peace of mind specifically for like the new homeowner too, to know that like, oh, okay, they kept up on this stuff and they've had it checked out by a professional.
Yeah.
I think obviously paint is another one, like paint and touch up. So like, we were painting our house, man, at our previous place, like I think every like felt like 3 or 4 years. It was just like, okay, there's been a tons of kids in here like wiping their hands on the walls and all that kind of stuff. Like let's get a fresh coat of paint on, just to like keep it list ready, Right. So like, God forbid if we had to put it up, we could, and we wouldn't have to worry about those things. I think just like, again, those updates that we've discussed. So like, that if your bathroom needs updating, it needs updating, right? Like needs a new vanity, maybe some sinks need to be changed out. Light fixtures is another one. Like if you need, like if your light fixtures are looking outdated, like it's a pretty easy fix to like go to Lowe's or Home Depot or any of those places or online and find some light fixtures that you like and put those up and keep your house updated there. So I think it's just constantly being aware of the things that need attention, right? So like, if I have leaks, I want to address those things, like obviously, if I have some electrical issues, that outlet doesn't work, or like, this one is black because it like burnt out or blew up or something, like, address those issues, because those are going to be things that like get pointed out or get called out anyway. So I just think that like, as long as you stay on top of those things, that helps keeping your house list ready. Appliances, another one, right? Like, my appliances are like outdated and the microwave doesn't really work half the time, or what, like just replace those things. Like the dishwasher, it doesn't, like we got to run 2 cycles before like our dishes are clean. Well, like probably just go get that replaced and put a new dishwasher in, like.
Yep. And again, it's not adding value, right?
Yeah.
It's just maintenance of the home.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I'll like tell sellers, or even as I'm just having this conversation with people, I'm like, if you were living in that house, what would you want done? Like if you were living there, are there things that like you would want addressed by your landlord to get fixed before like you would purchase the house? Yeah. Right? Like, right. So if you think about it that way as you're living there, like, okay, what are, some of people may not know this, but like, oh, the bathtub like drains slowly. The toilet doesn't flush as well as it used to. Like, maybe call a plumber and have him come over and fix those items, right? Like, it's not going to be too expensive, but it also will allow like that next person coming in to kind of make it feel like home and not be complaining about everything that's broken down. Yeah. So
would you recommend, let's say someone had a home that was like, they had, I don't know, let's say they had $50,000, I don't know. And they're like, hey, Ryan, our house is looking like this. It's older. We don't have many upgrades. There are some maintenance issues, but we want to put all of our money into upgrades. Leave the maintenance to itself. What would you say?
I mean, I would say, like, depending on, obviously, the house, location, right? Because being in that neighborhood is going to be important, too. Like, I don't want you to over-upgrade the house, right? So, like, I might go in there and say, like, hey, guys, like, I probably wouldn't spend more than $30,000 because I want you to get your value back. Like, I know you got 50 setting aside over here, but, like, let's maybe spend 30, hold off on the 20, use that towards the down payment of the new house, or, like, put it in a savings when you move into the new house, because there's always problems that come up, right? Right. But I would say, like, the major items where you're going to get your money back, right, are going to be kitchen and bathroom. Right. Why is that? When Brian was here, like our appraiser, when we were talking back and forth, like he said the same thing, like kitchens and baths, So like that's where you're going to get your most money back. But also remember, like, I think the challenge is we all want that to look the way we would want it if we're going to buy it, and then we can overspend. Right. So typically what I'll do is I'll be like, hey, here's the last 3 houses that have like sold in your neighborhood. Look at those photos and how they compare to like your property and what you're thinking about upgrading, and then put those things in the kitchen and the baths as it relates to like those comps, right? Because that's what other realtors and other appraisers are going to look at when they're going to value your house.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to care if you're in a $300,000 neighborhood and you go put marble countertops in or a marble floor or whatever the case is, and everybody else has got like Formica countertops, right? And so they're not going to be like, oh, well, we're going to give you an added value of X amount of dollar. Like I spent $50,000 on my kitchen remodel. Well, that's great, but all these other people had pretty average ones, and like, here's what the price was. We might comp it like $10,000 extra, but it's not going to be 50. You know, so like, you gotta be careful in the sense of like knowing when is the right time to like upgrade with these certain things, and when is it okay for me to like, it's not what I would have picked, but it's not something that necessarily has to go in here, you know?
Right.
So I think that's important for people to know. But I think for the most case, like anytime you're doing like a kitchen and a bath, people get that value back versus, and not like the whole value. Like that's the other thing that like people need to understand is like, if you drop 50 grand in, you're not getting 50 grand back in that value, right?
Yeah.
Like you might get 25 grand back in that value. Like it's not a full 100%. So like that's the other thing that people think sometimes is like, oh, well, we spent $50,000 on our upgrades, and you're like, okay, that's great. The house looks awesome, but like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to comp you 50 grand more on top of the list price that I think we should be at.
Oh, so what is it usually like the ratio of your upgrades that you're actually going to get resale value on? So like you said, you're not going to get 50,000 for 50,000 you put in. Typically, like, what would that number look like? Because then if people have, hey, I have these upgrades and I'm thinking about listing with you, Ryan, like, what is a realistic number?
I do. I've got some stuff in here. So like, new carpeting, for example, right? Like new flooring. You know, what most people in like real estate studies have told us is like around 25-40% return value on, which I think 40 is probably kind of high. I'd say like 25 to 30, like just on flooring. Painting, you know, they're saying 50 to 60%. I would lean more towards that lower number of 50. HVAC, I would say like 50%. Let's see here. Landscaping, like I tell people, I'm like, don't count on getting anything back. You know, this basically is saying like 10 to 20% of the cost.
Yeah.
As so like standard maintenance. So I'm like, I mean, maybe depends. Like we put $50,000 worth of landscaping in our yard, like in our house in Elkhorn. And I'm like, we definitely get 50,000 back on that. You know, like you can see it. It's great and it's nice and it entices a buyer, but like we're not going to get that full amount ever back from what we. Windows is like another thing. Now, windows, I will say, depending on what type of windows you do, like I would say that like you would want to replace them with like energy efficient, like luxury upgrade windows. Right.
Like, and would you say solar panels or?
Oh, see, that's going to get into something else. We're going to get there.
Okay.
But like standard window replacements, I mean, I think it's a pretty higher percentage there. Like they were saying, at least in this report here, 60 to 70% of costs, which is pretty high, which I would agree with. Cause I think like windows are expensive to begin with, but like if you got new energy efficient windows, like usually they're coming with a pretty high like warranty too, of like 30, 40, 50 year warranties, which I think is pretty good, right? Because like the chances of you living there that entire time are pretty slim. But the fact that like that warranty is covering for the next like 2 or 3, 4 decades is pretty nice, right? Like that's so I would say like windows is one of those things that like you buy a house and you got older windows and they're like fogging up and
Yeah.
Like they have those issues. Like doesn't mean you need to replace them right away. But like I tell people like in those instances, like, hey, just replace like a couple windows like every year, you know, and then eventually like you'll get 10 years into your house and everything's been replaced. You know,
smart.
Like roof, it's saying like 60 to 70%. I think that's pretty high. I mean, that's a national percentage there. Like, I think it'd be a lot lower, like here in Nebraska, just because of our weather.
I was going to say with the hail and thunderstorms and all of that.
I mean, but that's the reality too. Like, that's a good thing, I think, for Nebraska is like most roofs now that are getting put on have like a 20, 25, 30 year, sometime like our roof in our neighborhood is a 50-year warranty, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But like the chances of that roof lasting 50 years, highly unlikely, right? Like we're going to get a huge storm that comes in and destroys our roof at some point. Like we just know that living in Nebraska, like whether that's through tree limbs falling on it or like hail or whatever, like the crazy winters and like just the difference in temperature and all those things, like that thing ain't gonna last 50 years or 20 years or 25 years. Like it's probably gonna get replaced at some point, right? So
what do you typically see with roofs? Like how if you had a buyer that was like kind of concerned about the roof, Ryan, but I don't really know, and you've done multiple sales, like what would you say is where I'm like, I'm gonna tell my buyer to be a bit concerned? I know you're not like a roofer.
I leave that up to the inspector. Like I'm not a roofing expert. I don't know. Like I couldn't sit here and tell you like, oh, there's this shingle versus this shingle, and like, I mean, I know like a presidential shingle is a lot better than like your regular shingle. That's the 30-year composite shingle that gets put on. Like, I know those certain things, but like I'm not a roofing expert, you know. So like, I leave that up to the inspector or roofing contractor to kind of address some of those. But I mean, like I said, I think you rarely see homes like, and this would go into this conversation. Like if my roof is 20 years older, 20 years plus like old, that tells me a lot about the individual that owns that house. Probably the house hasn't been taken care of, you know, and it definitely hasn't had somebody over there to like look at the roof anytime soon. Right. So like, I would tell my buyer, like, hey, the roof is probably going to need to be replaced fairly soon. And our inspector is probably going to tell us that. And, like, the roofing contractor is going to tell us that. I will say there's been times where I've been surprised where, like, we get a 22-year-old roof and the roofing contractor comes back and is like, hey, there's no issues with the roof. It's old, but, like, there's no issues up there. You got at least 5 to 8 more years left in it.
Dang,
you know, and you're like, oh, okay,
nice.
well, lucky you, you know, like, but at least you know that, like, okay, we're on the end of, like, the age of this roof, and, like, we're going to have to plan and prepare for, like, now I will say the issue that you might run into is once your insurance company finds that out, they're going to be like, oh, well, we might not insure the roof, or we're going to insure it, but not cover the full replacement of the roof if something were to go down. So, like, then that's something that you have to weigh as far as, okay, do I want to spend the money when I move in to put a new roof on, or do I want to just deal with that and pay cash when I need a new roof, you know? So, like, I think those are issues, and those are obviously challenges and things you need to think about. How bad do you want the house? You know, how important is that for you to have that new roof on right now, even though there's nothing wrong with it, you know? But I think people hear numbers sometimes and they're just, they're kind of scared by that, you know, like, oh, the roof is 22 years old. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with it. Like we had a roofing inspector go up there and tell us that nothing's wrong with it. So, like, if you can get 8 more years out of it, are you going to be in here 8 more years? Maybe not. But like, just know then though, like going to sell, that's probably going to come back on inspection. You're going to have to replace it, you know? Yeah. So that's what I'd be aware of.
Okay. This one's kind of random, but like with luxury add-ons, I feel like, cause my mom has always wanted a pool, right? But like how much is that going to add value, or like the hot tubs, or home theaters. Like, are those personal updates you think that people are like, oh, I really just want this?
Yeah.
And they think that it's something that's going to add value later on, but it's like, oh, not everyone wants a pool, not everyone wants a theater, not everyone wants a hot tub. What would you say about luxury items?
So this is a question. I don't know if you guys listened to the podcast that I had with the appraiser, because like I was asking about this, because especially in Nebraska, right? Like, okay, if I live in Florida, Arizona, you know, a lot of those hot places, Texas, where the weather's always warm, a pool would be like, you would think, an incentive of someone that like wants to be here and would add value to your house, right? Like, okay, well, it's 90, 100 degrees all the time here. Like, a pool is definitely something people are going to want.
Yep.
In Nebraska, I would argue and say that's not necessarily true. Like, there is a certain buyer that wants a pool in their backyard. I don't think it hurts by any means, but I think there's less people out there in Nebraska that want a pool versus don't want a pool.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people in Nebraska view a pool as like, it is more maintenance and more time, and I don't want to deal with it. And if you have small kids, to be honest with you, that's always going to be a concern of like, you know, I have small kids and I don't want my kid to like drown or fall in the pool and have something horrific happen. Right. Yeah. So like, I don't feel like they add much value. Now I will say this, like, from a money standpoint, like, and you heard Brian when we had him on here and we were going back and forth on this, his response was, it depends. Right. So if I live in a neighborhood, I think this is why, like, I'm going to preach this throughout this podcast because it pertains to all these things, is location, location, location. Right. So like, if I'm in the Southamptons, you know, which is way out west, and the houses in that neighborhood are 1.5 to 4.5 million, you know, sometimes even more, and I have a pool there, that's obviously going to add more value to my property versus if I'm in Bellevue, Nebraska, and I've got a $250,000 house and I put a pool in the backyard. Right? Like, well, I just spent $120,000 plus to put that pool in at a $250,000 neighborhood. I'm probably not getting that money back. Right? Like, it's going to entice the next buyer to come in and want that, but like, it's like you were describing, wants versus needs. And like, in that situation, hey, we wanted a pool and we put one in, knowing that like, we're not going to get a whole lot in return from that. Same thing out in West Omaha, you know, like, okay, we put a pool in out here, it's going to add some value because of the price range and the neighborhood that we're in. Right. So like, that's where I think it's important. I will say, like, above ground pools, like, don't add any value. The above ground pools, like, people are like, I don't want that thing in my backyard. It leaves a spot in the grass now that's all dead. And now I don't know what to do with that area. And there's this big, huge circle that's like in my backyard that I have to like resod or refigure out what I'm going to do with that stuff.
So would that almost like decrease?
Yeah, I think that would maybe make a buyer be like, okay, like, I don't want to deal with that. You know?
I get that. I mean, the grass itself, if it's dying under there and the market leaves and all the moving parts to that, I would not want that as a buyer.
Yeah. But like I said, there's some buyers out there that, like, since COVID, like, we've seen those prices obviously like go up and fluctuate. But I think even when you're talking about appraising the property, like, Brian will tell you that from the appraiser that we had on here, like, it depends. It depends what, like, he's going to pull comps from surrounding houses within that neighborhood that have pools.
Yeah.
And if there isn't any house in that neighborhood that has a pool, like, he's going to have to go outside of that to try to find something to like comp it to. So that would be another thing I'd ask myself. Like, if I'm thinking about putting a pool in, I would be asking myself the question, like, are there other houses in our neighborhood that have a pool? And if so, like, did we see that increase the value of their home when they went to sell, if there's any houses that have sold recently with a pool, you know? So, yeah, I mean, pools can make a huge difference as far as getting the buyer to like want to come live in that property, but definitely aren't going to see that home value. Like you're not going to get 100% of the cost that you put in to put a pool in back. I would even say like, I would say in Nebraska, just based off of what I've seen, and this would be a question maybe to ask Brian when we have him on the podcast again, is in most cases, what's the average that you would comp for like having an in-ground pool? I've seen on reports and appraisal reports like 25 to 35K, which isn't a lot when you think about. Now I've seen some come back higher because of different neighborhoods, right? But on average, I would say like it's probably somewhere in there. It's not a lot. So I mean, 25 to maybe 75, like to be fair, unless you're like in the 1.5 million plus, then maybe you're gonna get over $100,000 comp there. But I would say that's something to be careful of too, because that might be something you drop a lot of money in and you expect to get a return on that you won't.
Yeah.
So
would you say that buyer preferences right now in Omaha are more towards like the luxury add-ins and updates, or is it more, okay, this home is well maintained? What do you see typically?
Well, I think every buyer in whatever price range wants everything to be brand new, right?
Yeah.
They're being unrealistic.
So what would you tell a buyer who's like, I want my home to be well maintained and I want all the upgrades, and they're in like the,
I'd say, what's your price range?
What if they're in lower price range?
Because if you're like, what you're telling me is like a $600,000 house.
So what if they're like lower than that?
So I would say like you're gonna have to sacrifice somewhere.
Well,
you
what
know,
would
like,
you?
I think everybody, like, this is the challenge when you have a buyer, right? Because most cases, like, there's a saying in real estate that buyers are liars. And the reason for that is, like, when you first meet with them, they'll be like, okay, like, here's my needs versus my wants, you know, and then like that changes over time as you like see a couple houses or whatever, and it seems like the wants keep going up, but they want to be in the same price range, which is like, well, you can't have both. Like, you can't have all these things and be in this price range, you know?
Right.
But then you also have, where I was going with that too, is you also have people that I think they see shows on TV and they think like, oh, well, you know, over in this state, like, these people got a house for $350,000 and they got all this stuff. And it's like, well, that's great, but that's not here. That's not realistic, right? So like, I try to paint the picture of being realistic, and usually, like, I think most of my clients get it when I take them to their first couple houses, and I try to go in like $25,000 to $50,000 increments, right? Of like, hey, I know this is where you want to stay, but based off of what you're telling me, let's go look at this house. Here's what you're going to have to pay if this is what you want. You know, and I think they get it then of like, okay, here's what I'm getting for like $280,000, or here's what I'm getting for $325,000. It's a big difference, right? Like, even in just that small window there, like $30,000, $40,000 difference is pretty big when you're looking at the different things that might be the difference of, hey, I've got tile in my bathroom floor versus I have carpet on my bathroom floor, right? Like, that might be the difference of like, I might have subway tile in my shower versus having one of the $900, $1,200 things from Lowe's or Home Depot that just fit together and they slap in there. Like, but that's what you're going to have to decide is, can I sacrifice some of those things? Or like, if those are my wants and that's what I want to have, then like, you need to come up on price, right? Because you're not gonna. But then here's what happens a lot of times too, is these people then go, well, okay, that's what I want. Can we go make an offer for like $20,000 less? Like, on these properties. Okay, this house is $425,000. I love everything of it. I want to write an offer for $400,000. And you're like, It's not how it works. Like,
Yeah.
we just saw the $400,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this one obviously has more upgrades. Now, if that house has been sitting there for a while, maybe, like, we can, but don't expect that to be the final price,
Yeah.
right? You're going to get a counter back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what people need to understand, too, is, like, okay, yeah, people, like, when I'm listing houses, I usually educate my sellers and say, like, hey, we have a really nice house. We have a well taken care of house. I can tell that you guys took care of it. You kept it clean. You did all these things. But we do have upgrades that buyers are going to see that they're going to want, right? So they're going to want, instead of these Formica countertops, like, they're probably going to want granite or quartz, you know? But, like, I know you guys don't want to spend the money to do that, but just know when a buyer comes in here, that might be some of the feedback that we get back.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I know the paint looks great, but, like, it's from the 90s and it hasn't been updated. And so somebody coming in here, you know, it's 30 years later, they're going to probably want some more contemporary, modern, neutral color that looks better than, like, the poop yellow that's on your wall right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, or the beige, right?
Yeah,
like,
beige.
there's a lot of beige or, like, things like that where I just educate them and tell them, like, hey, that's nothing against you. Don't take it personal.
Yeah.
When somebody comes in here and they're going to, is it a quick fix? Yeah, it's a quick fix. You can get a painter in there and probably in a week have it all done. But, like, it's also expensive to do that. So, like, you got to weigh what it is. But then you also have to know that, like, okay, my price can't be what our neighbor's house just sold for when they made all the upgrades and we didn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's my biggest frustration, I think, in this industry is, like, well, my neighbor's house just, it doesn't matter what your neighbor's house just sold for.
Everyone looks at their neighbor's house and they want that.
Like, okay, so my response back is, how does your house compare to your neighbor's house? Is your neighbor's house updated? No, ours is. Okay, well, then our price should be probably higher. But if your neighbor's house is, like, dressed to the nines and you haven't updated anything in your house, you're not going to get that same price.
Right.
And that's the reality. Like, you need to come back to reality and understand that, like, if I come tell you we're going to be 30 grand below that, you can't get upset about it because you didn't make the upgrades, right? So, like, you didn't do some of the things that you probably should have done while you were living there to keep or to stay list ready, right?
So what would you say sellers, like, they have 3 improvements that they're like, we have 3 improvements to do. What would you tell them are the best? And then what's, like, the worst?
I mean, I would say, first of all, like, what's your budget? Because, like, your budget's going to determine what upgrades you can afford and do, right? So, like, I would say first, if you have, like, I think everybody out there, and comment below if you agree or not, but, like, I don't think anybody wants carpet in their bathroom. Like, that is 1990s, early 2000s. Like, it's a weird thing. And it's like, who wants to get out of the shower and, like, be standing on carpet? It's disgusting. Like, and all that water, who knows what's underneath there? Who knows what's in that carpet? It's disgusting. So it has to go, right? Like, so if that's you and you're out there and you have carpet in your bathroom, any bathroom, get rid of it. You can do some very cheap options, right? Like, you can even go get, like, some really cute looking roll out laminate that, like, would go in there that's going to be better than carpet, okay? Yeah. I would recommend doing, like, tile. Like, tile is going to be your best option. I think looks great. Obviously, like, works with water and all that stuff. Yeah. But if you can't afford to do that, do that. Don't put wood in there. Don't do anything like that. Because, like, again, wood and water, no. Maybe some really nice, like, laminate, like, flooring would be nice. Some LVP. You could do something like that, but I would go, if there's anywhere where there's going to be water, like, tile all day long. Yeah. So I would say that would be the first thing that I would, like, ask. Next thing would be, like, again, I would say vanities or, like, countertops. Like, if you have Formica's got to go. If you have tile countertops, which is, like, old school.
That is old school.
Like, it's got to go. Like, there are some cheap options from, like, granite or quartz that you can put in there. I will say this though, like it is definitely worth the hire or talking with your real estate agent, aka me, about what quartz or granite to put in there. The worst thing you can do is go put quartz in or granite and be like, this is the most disgusting granite I've ever seen, and no buyer's going to like that, and they're going to have to rip that off and replace it anyway.
Is that based on like the colors in it or what?
Yeah, I think colors and just like, you know, if it's on the clearance rack, there's probably a reason why. Like it doesn't look good. But sometimes you can find some great deals because people bring in extra slabs that maybe ordered too much or whatever, and like that's great. But just consult with someone before you do it. That's all I'm saying. And then I would say like even small things like I tell people all the time, I'm like, paint can change a room. Like just painting a room or switching out light fixtures can make a drastic change, you know, and you don't know it until you actually do it. But like, I think it's a cheap, easy way to do it. And it's usually something you can even do yourself. But I would say those three things, I mean, are easy ways to freshen up a place and make it look fairly decent to get it ready to like list. There are times where I like walk into some kids' rooms and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's great that you let your daughter do like a hot pink in here, but
you gotta paint it.
You know, like it's an easy fix. And I know it adds one more thing to do to like the list or whatever, but I would probably paint that like a neutral color. Or like you walk in and my favorite thing is like walking into like older homes and you see the floorings different in each room. You're like orange carpet, blue carpet, like this has wood floor here, and you're like, what was going on? I think that's one thing that like, you know, a lot of people think about if they can blatantly see it when they're automatically thinking dollar signs in their head. Like, okay, it's going to cost me X amount of dollars to like have to replace all this and do it. So I would say that's something you should have done when you first moved in. But if it's something that you didn't do when you were living there, now's the time to do it to get your house list ready. Yeah.
And then if they can't, they're like, I don't have any money. Your list price is going to reflect that.
Yeah. You go as is. You go concessions for those things. There's ways around it.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, just because you can't afford to do it is okay, but then just know that it's going to be a reflection in your price point.
Yeah. And that comes back to having an agent that knows what they're doing.
Yep.
Because you see those listings where it's like, why is this priced this way when this house has 0 updates? That's what I feel like I see all the time on the MLS. Is like, these houses have no updates whatsoever, and then there's some that do, and it's like, oh, well, why are they priced the same?
Yeah.
Like,
because you have an inexperienced agent. That's why they look at like, oh, here's the 3 comps in the neighborhood, like we're gonna list it there, and it's like, no, like how does our house compare to these 3 comps in the neighborhood? Like if I've got 3 active listings right now, and somebody's asking me to like list their house. The very first thing I'm doing is like I'm pulling those 3 listings and I'm looking at all those pictures and I'm being like, how does this compare to our house?
Yeah.
So if their price point's like $425, $430, $435, $430, you know, like, and they're updated and my house doesn't have updates, like depending on where we should, like I'm probably listing at 405. Like I'm listing well below. I'm not going to go into that and tell them that we can list at 430 like the rest of these because we don't compare to them. Like my job is not to see how long we can stay on the market. Like my job is to sell your house in the fastest amount of time that we possibly can.
Right.
So how do I do that? Well, you factor in those things. Like then you go back and you look at, hey, here's what's pending in your neighborhood. How do we compare to those? Here's the last 3 that sold in your neighborhood in the last couple months. Like let's make sure that we price this thing right.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is let my sign sit in your yard for months.
Right. No one wants that.
No. And sometimes, like, you are priced right, and you just have to be patient because of the market. But I still feel like if you're where you need to be price-wise, your house should still sell fairly quickly. Like, as I say that, you know, ours was on the market in May, and like we got under contract like in August, you know, but like again, higher price point.
Yep.
But
very true.
Location.
Do you want to touch back on the solar? Because I mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big one as far as what people think. Oh, well, like we got solar, and it's like, well, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But the person that's moving in might not necessarily want solar.
Mm.
Like, so again, it's
yeah.
like it's a preference, right?
Yep.
It's a maintenance thing. It's a preference thing of like, hey, you can save tons of money by, well, that's great, but like some people just might not be solar people, and they might not care, and they might not really be enticed by that at all. They might actually be turned away from it, which, I mean, again, that depends on who that buyer is, right?
Right.
So I just think, again, probably to answer that question is like it depends, but it also doesn't add value. Like it's not going to increase the value of your house. You know, if anything, like it causes another like insurance thing there. Like if you have 8 solar panels on top of your roof, like I don't know what that insurance cost is, but it can't be cheaper I don't think it can be. I mean, somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. Or it's not gonna, if it is cheaper, you know, it's definitely not gonna be a situation where it's gonna entice that buyer to be like, oh my gosh, we're saving thousands of dollars like having solar. Like, I mean, you might on your electric bill, but like, I don't think that's gonna be something that entices
people to specifically
buy just because you have solar. Yeah. Some people think it's ugly. Like they see it on a house and they're like, that like takes away the character of my house. And I'm like, well, okay, like that's your opinion.
Yeah.
You know, like, but again, it's like, okay, you can save on electrical, but like your house appearance wise might look a little different. What are you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah.
Like,
so
it's just one of those things.
It's like kind of all preference if you really think about it. I mean, even upgrades. You could like this upgrade, but someone thinks it's ugly.
Right.
Or a golf simulator. Someone puts that in. You could love it, and then someone else would be like, "That's a waste of space. I don't."
Shout out Buchanan. Just joking.
That's the only like weird fixture
golf
add-on I could
simulator.
think of.
Those are actually becoming more and more of a thing. Like people are, like I've worked with buyers that have been like, "Where are we going to put the golf simulator?" And I'm like, "Really?" Like that's what we're.
Do you think that would add value then?
No.
In today's market, okay.
I don't think it adds value. It's a personal preference, right? Like, it's just a place to add a hobby. It's no different than what you said earlier in like a home theater room. Like, okay, that's great that you have a home theater room, but like somebody might want to change that into a workout room. You know, like everybody's preference is different. Yeah. So just because you think it adds value doesn't mean it necessarily in reality adds value to that home.
Okay. So when we say like add value, what specifically does that mean? Is it referring to higher appraisal, faster sale? What do you like when people are saying?
I mean, that's a good question. I feel like adding value is, from a seller standpoint, if I'm being honest, I think a seller thinks, or when they hear adding value, they think more money in my pocket. Right?
You don't
like,
think they think faster sale?
I think it can, right? Like, for an example, like if you have a movie theater room and you have a pool in your backyard and you have some of these like nicer luxury, we'll call them like luxury updates, you know, like, I think that's going to entice someone to want to purchase that home versus the home that doesn't have it, right? Who wouldn't say that, like, if they're looking for a house, oh, well, like, if these two floor plans are the exact same, and this one has a workout room and this one has a theater and has a pool in the backyard, and it's $30,000 more, what do you think they're going to choose? They're probably going to choose that one that's, if they can afford it, the one that has the better amenities, right? Like, they're going to be like, that has everything we need in it. does it help it sell faster? I don't know. Maybe. Like, again, I think it depends. Like, location, price, like,
yep.
where does it land in comparison to where a lot of the buyers are at right now, you know? And I think most people, when they're doing upgrades or all these things, they are thinking about, like, home value and resale value, like, when they're gonna go sell their house, right? Like, if they're making an addition, like, right now we have a 2-car garage on our new house. We've talked about, like, adding a 3rd car. Would that be a benefit to people, like, when we go to resell someday? Probably. Like, most people would love to have a 3-car garage versus a 2-car.
Yeah.
Is that going to add value in the sense that, like, is that going to put more money in my pocket at the end of the day? Maybe, but it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be like $10,000, $15,000 comp that the appraiser is going to use to, like, oh, it went from a 2-car to a 3-car. You know, we can add a little bit of value there. But, like, I can tell you right now, it ain't going to cost me $10,000 to $15,000 to put a 3rd-car garage on. I'm going to be paying like $40,000 to $50,000, $60,000 probably. Yeah. Like, so am I going to see that return? No. Like, am I going to get some? Yeah, but not a lot. You know?
Do you think that would be like a misconception then? Like, probably the biggest with these is people are thinking they're going to get exactly what they put in.
Yes. I think that's the biggest misconception is, like, people take dollar for dollar and think that's what they're getting a return on. And it's like, nah, I would say to be safe with anything, 25 to 50%. If you get more than that, great.
Yeah.
But, like, don't expect more than that. And then if you do, like, consider it a bonus and a blessing. Yeah. Like, but definitely not 100%. You're not getting 100% return on anything.
That would be crazy if you did.
Yeah, it would.
What would that do?
Home prices would be
through the roof.
Through
the roof, right?
Yeah. Well, think about it. Then everybody would be like, well, I'm going to go spend X amount of dollars and I'm going to put this movie theater room in and I'm going to put an extra garage on and I'm going to redo the driveway. Like,
and then they get all that money
everybody would be going crazy and they bought a house for 200 and they put 400 in. Now they're 400. They're in 400 and they're like, I want 450 for my house. Well, that's not how it works.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but I think there's a lot of people that do think that.
Oh, like, yeah. I think that's kind of the, like we said, misconception.
Yeah. I mean, I shared the story on one of the podcasts of the lady that spent
like
$80,000 in landscaping. And then, like, the moment she sold, like, literally, like, 2 weeks later, she had the new homeowners had, like, bobcats and everything else back there and destroyed everything that she had done. So, like,
yeah,
you're not getting that $80,000 back. Like, now they're probably spending $80,000 to like get it back to what they want it to be. Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. So, what else you got?
Let's see. One of the questions I had was, is it more important to focus on interior or exterior? So if, like, what was my exact question? It was like, okay, if the siding on the home needs to be repaired, would you put that above an interior repair?
It depends. You like that answer?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think it depends. Like, again, it depends on location. It depends on condition. You know, like, if I have beige paint in the inside of my house, but I have siding that got destroyed by hail, like, it's probably more important to replace that siding that got destroyed by hail and worry about the paint later. Right. Like, so I think condition would be something that you would ask yourself, like, okay, what do I do first? Well, like, what appeals to you more? Like, think of it from a buyer that's coming through your house. Like, are they going to care that the siding got fixed, or are they going to care more about the paint that needs to be updated and painted? Which is something that they could probably do. They probably don't want to deal with the siding. Yeah. You know? So, I mean, same thing with, like, decks. You know, decks are a big thing where, like, you walk out onto a deck and you're like, man, I don't even feel safe being out on this. Like, that's going to be a major cost, right? So, like, price accordingly. You know, or get your deck replaced. Like, knowing that that's going to be something that a buyer is going to want done or is going to be aware of that they're going to come down on price on you for.
Oh, yeah. What about finished basements in Omaha? I mean, you have, or I guess location probably matters for that as well. But I don't know. Does location matter for a finished basement? You have the one in the Grove that you had.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely it does, because I think, again, location is important. I think size of the house is important for that. Like, thinking about who's the ideal buyer that's going to buy this place, right? So if I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, unfinished basement, and I'm in a neighborhood that's, family friendly and all that kind of stuff, like, I've got to be thinking to myself, okay, the potential buyer that's going to be in here is probably going to be a family.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have more than 2 kids, which a lot of people do, we're going to have to finish the basement, and put bedrooms in down there or whatever. That's just how, again, I'm not saying that's something you have to do, right? But that's going to be what people are thinking about. Finishing a basement is not cheap.
Yeah.
So I think, again, you kind of have to make that decision as far as, is this something that we want to do as we're living there and enjoy the finished space? Or is this something that, we understand we're probably going to get feedback on, and people can finish it however they want?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of that's the pro in this situation, right? Is, hey, it's unfinished. You can design it however you want because it's unfinished, versus, well, it's finished, but because sometimes you get that feedback. It's finished, but it's kind of wonky, the way they did it. And I don't understand why they put this here when that could have been moved over here. Everybody has an opinion, right?
Yep.
So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there. I think it's just thinking through, okay, how will this add value where I'm going to get somewhat of a return on? If you spend $100,000 to finish your basement, you're not getting that back.
Yeah.
You might get half of that back in your price, but it just kind of depends, how that layout is. What are you putting down there? Are you putting 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom, movie theater room? What is it that you're using that space for? So I think that depends, and that's a good question. I think a lot of people prefer a finished basement versus an unfinished basement, but a lot of people don't have the money to finish it.
Yeah. How much does that usually cost? Did you say that?
It kind of depends.
Just what would the basic one?
I mean, your basic is probably $50,000 finish.
How does the current market, I guess, interest rates, the inventory, buyer demand, how does that influence what improvements are worth it?
I don't know if they necessarily influence it. Again, I think it just comes down to, what do the buyers that are looking at that specific location desire?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I know I've been saying this over and over, but I think that's why location is so important.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a amazing school district, which in a lot of, to be honest with you, in Omaha, a lot of the school districts are great here.
Yeah.
So but if you're in one of those good school districts that people want to go, Millard, Papillion, Elkhorn, Gretna, I think if you're in those areas, right, it's a little bit different than if you're in a Bellevue or Council Bluffs or different, and not to knock on any of those places, right? We sell all over those areas. But I think it's just a different location, right? And different preferences. And logistics go into that, specifics go into that as far as what are you close to? Are you close to shopping, entertainment, that kind of stuff, grocery stores? Those things matter when you have buyers looking for a property.
Yeah.
So at first, when you first bought your house, you might not have cared about those things. But the next time you go buy a house, you're I want to be within 10 minutes of a Target, and I want to be within, 10 minutes of a Baker's grocery store or Hy-Vee or whatever the case is. You have people now that they're in a different season of life where they're making these trips to and from these places like almost every single day versus when they first bought a house, they didn't really care. They'd have a TV and a bed, you know, and now they have all these other things and they have kids and like they're making these trips. And so I think like, again, location matters. And that's why someone chooses to move is like, well, what's your motivation for moving? Like, that's a question that I ask a lot is why are you moving? You know, like, well, we need to upgrade. Okay. You need to upgrade. What are you looking for? Like, what are your absolute needs that you need in this next house? You know? And then it's, what do you need to be close by? Like, are there certain areas of town? Like I've had people that are like, well, I want to be closer to my job. Okay. Well, where do you work? Like, how far is too far? And what do you mean by close? You got to define that. 15 miles, 20 miles. Like, I want to be less than 30-minute drive to work. Okay. Well, then that means this is our area that we need to look in, you know?
Yep.
So I just think it depends, you know, and that's just one buyer, right? But it depends on what that buyer is going to be looking for in that specific. So a lot of things that I ask my sellers is I'm like, well, what made you want to buy this house? When you bought this house a long time ago, like, what were the things that stood out to you? Why'd you end up choosing this neighborhood and this location and this place? Because it's probably going to be the same reason why the
Somebody
new buyer
else.
comes in and buys it.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like having those, he has a sheet that he sends to sellers and it's like, what have you improved on? Like, what do you love about your neighborhood? There's multiple questions on it, but it helps you get the gist of that. And then you can share it with buyers. And then it's like, oh, this house is by Papillion Landing. That could be an attractive spot for some people.
Yep.
What do you think of like the trends for location, or what do you predict? Because we were West Omaha for so long.
Yeah.
What are you seeing? Is there any shifts you're seeing? Or
Oh, for sure. Like, I think, you know, even during COVID, it was still like, I think people want to be in West Omaha, right? Like West Omaha, like Gretna, Bennington, Elkhorn, like Blair, even, you know. And Blair, I wouldn't even say it's West Omaha. I think that's like North Omaha, you know. But like same thing with like Bennington, I think Northwest. But I think a lot of those locations have changed now, and there's a lot of people moving out towards Gretna and Southwest or Northwest Omaha, Northeast. I don't know.
like Papillion area?
No, wait, that'd be Southeast. I was right. Southwest Omaha, like Papillion area, where that's where we were talking about on the last podcast. There's a lot of growth that's like taking place out there. A lot of huge things being built and neighborhoods being developed and all that kind of stuff. What's happened with like West Omaha is I feel like we've kind of ran out of room, if you will.
Like so many apartments.
So I think people are, and taxes, like our big thing. And I think people have basically said, okay, like, let's start looking out that way. And Gretna and I think Papillion area are two hot spots right now. Dundee's always going to be a hot spot, you know, and I couldn't agree more. Like, it's a great area of town. It's like centrally located, but it's also like historic.
And has that timeless charm effect.
It does. Like, you drive through neighborhoods there and they're like older houses and they like have character, and like that's always going to be a hot area. I think like people just desire to want to have that or be, and it's a great location. You're central to like everything. And so I think there's pockets, right? Like I think Blair, Fort Calhoun, like people that want to move outside of the city, like those are areas that like you can go find acreages and places there. So I don't know. Like I think there's always going to be certain hot spots. District 66 is always like a hot spot of like where people want to be by West Side High School.
Yeah.
Like those, I don't think we'll ever see those areas kind of like change. We've had an interesting conversation before about like Linden Estates, you know, and
yeah, we did.
Linden Estates is, for those of you that don't know it, like years and years, it's been like this, like location and place here in town that like multi-million-dollar houses are in, you know, and our discussion has been like, man, 20 years from now, like, will that still be a desired area to be? Because I feel like the generations coming up are more like interested in living a simplistic life, and they don't care about the luxurious life, it seems. A lot less square footage, a lot less being, I would say, content with like, because, and I feel like a lot of that is is dealing with travel. Like, a lot of people like to travel more, like in that younger generation. And so like, it makes me wonder, like, will that necessarily change, or will we see a shift there, like moving forward, especially in Omaha? Like, will we see the change from these people that want to be on the lake and spend $1.5 to $2 million on a property? Will that be something that even entices this generation currently living there, their kids, to want that same lifestyle? I don't know.
I would be curious to know.
I'll be curious to watch that play over time. And I think, you know, I know for me, like, when I built our house, it's weird because I'm in my 40s and I'm going through this in my own like head. But like, when I built my house, it was like all this excitement about like building my home, and like it's my dream home, and like all these things, and we're putting a movie theater room in, and we're doing all this cool stuff. We're doing a stamped paved patio in the back that we never used, that we thought we would use a lot more than what we did. To now, like, my new house is like super outdated. It's a fairly, I mean, it's the same amount of space, I think, square footage wise, maybe a little bit bigger, but like no backyard like that we had at the old house, you know. But what I do love about it is it's literally like every time I drive home, you've got to like weave your way through the neighborhood to like get back into our area, and it's so like quiet and peaceful. And so like, it's
very homey.
I feel like when I get home, like, I didn't know this about it until I actually like have it, but like just the privacy that I have, where I'm like, man, it's so private back here. I can go sit out on my back deck and it's covered by shade, and like I could have a quiet time, or I could just like sit back here and think and not be distracted by all the cars driving by and all these weird things. Like, but it's more for me like a retreat. Like, in the sense that like, man, I can just go home and kind of relax when I get home. And I didn't have that like at the other place. It felt like it was constantly like still going and stuff to do and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, if I want to just like get home and go for a walk on the trail around the lake, like, I can do that.
That's so nice. You know? Yeah.
But like, I didn't realize how important like that was for me until I actually like,
until you had it
and did it. And then I was like, man, all this other stuff that I thought I wanted, I don't really care about. Like, I don't care about the home theater. Like, it was nice to have like a projector and screen and like watch movies, and my kids loved it. But like, I don't miss it, you know, as much as I thought I would. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think there's seasons too, right? Like, that's, again, like, you have these seasons of life that you go through, and it's like, okay, well, why'd you move? Well, like, I don't know, we just didn't feel like that was where we necessarily needed to be anymore. Like, everything seemed to be geared towards Millard, and that's why we moved to Millard, because that's where all of our kids' activities and stuff go on. So like, I think it was more of a family move, and just also like without even knowing it, a move of where the Lord was like, this is the place that I have for you, and like, you're going to enjoy the comfort of this place and the peace and quiet that comes along with it.
That's really nice.
So sometimes you don't know what you're getting
until
you like move in there. But
yeah,
I don't know. I will say that was the first house. This is going to sound really weird because I'm a realtor, and I tell people this all the time. I'm like, when you know, you know. Like, in reference to like, well, how do we know that this is going to be like, that we're going to find the house that we want? And I'm like, you just know. Like, you'll walk in and you know, like, you'll envision this is where we can see ourselves and where we want to raise a family, or like where our kids would love to be. And like, you just know when you walk through the door. And it's weird. Like, I didn't necessarily like feel that when we built. Maybe that's just because we like built, you know, and it was like, and I didn't feel that with like our other houses. It was normally just like, well, this is what we can afford, so this is what we're going to get. This house, I literally walked up to the front door, and I opened up the front door, and I'm like, this is it. I just knew, like, in my heart, I was like, I can envision the kids here already, and me and my wife here, and like continuing to raise our family. And this is going to be, like, it was so weird where I was like, this is going to be the house that we move into.
That's amazing.
And there was a lot of hoops and stuff to like jump through and things that came up. But at the end of the day, I was like,
God got you through it.
I mean,
it's your home.
we literally like prayed. There were certain situations where we were like, all right, like we were at the verge of like giving up and being like, all right, this just isn't meant to be. Like, we tried to force this. And we just prayed like, Lord, if this is your will and you want this to be done, like, please show us and please provide a way through it. And he did. And so then you're like, okay, well, like, I guess this is it. Like, this is like what I felt was true, you know. But yeah, so anyways, I just, to end the podcast and like all these things that we've been discussing, like, I think at the end of the day, like, one, you're gonna know this is the place. You're gonna feel like this is the place where I can be, we can raise our family, or where I can live and do these things. And all of this stuff that we've talked about doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters in the sense of like, yeah, there's things that we're going to have to do, but like at the end of the day, like, this is going to be your home, and this is going to be where you come home from work and unwind and relax and like spend the majority of your life outside of work and like going to places, right? It's the place that you're going to always come back to. And I think that's what's most important is like, if you feel like this is the place, then make it your place. And then all these other things you can do later, right? Like, you don't have to fix everything right away. You don't have to upgrade everything right away. You don't have to do any of that stuff right away. In fact, you don't have to do any of that stuff, and your house will still appreciate in value. It just won't appreciate as fast as if you made some of the upgrades, if there was upgrades that need to be made, if that makes sense. And maybe some people, they don't care about that. And that's fine. Just know that if you ever go to resell, that's going to be the feedback that you'll get back. But that's okay. Like,
but if it's something that you were like, I'm willing to take that loss, but it's like you made your home your home. And you were content. I think that's kind of where we all want to be, is content. And if you're there, don't do all this extra stuff if you don't want to, don't have the money to.
It's true. I'm going to give a plug here, a shameless plug at the end.
Okay.
But you've heard me talk about location, right? Like, it's true in real estate. It matters. But wherever you live, there is a standard based on what people should and shouldn't do when making these decisions like we've been talking about, right? So if you want a professional like myself, there's my plug, to come out and make suggestions or share with you my insights on how you can make those improvements or what you should do to add value to your home, simply just DM me or send me a text message. Like, you guys,
drop the phone number.
402-917-7847. Love it. Look at that. My assistant has my number memorized. I love it. Yeah, so I just want you guys to know that, like, if you have questions or follow up to this, like, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm more than happy to help. That's what I do. Like, I have so many of my clients that will like call me or text me, be like, hey, what do you think about this? Should we do this? Should we not do this? Hey, can you come out and take a look at this? Or can you advise us on who to contact for like these updates that we want to make? And that's why I am here.
Yeah, that's exactly
to be a resource for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, add that to the list of what are things that a real estate agent does. Like, he never stops. A good agent never stops working for you. So, and what I mean by that is, like, we're constantly, I was telling a lender this morning. I'm like, I feel like I'm constantly on the clock. Like I get text messages at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, 7 in the morning. Like it's just my phone's always dinging with crazy different stuff, you know, whether that's within the transaction, outside of a transaction, people wanting to meet up. Like,
yeah, you got to keep up with those relationships, like you said.
Yeah. So I think just knowing that, like, that is my job. Like, so many people are like, we feel so bad, like, reaching out. And like, don't feel bad. Like, this is part of what I do. Like, this is why I provide value to you. It's not just in, like, the podcast, or in the podcast. It's not in the transaction that, like, my value should be provided. It should be outside of the transaction as well. So
100%. And you do a great job at doing that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear to everyone. So that's my job. If you guys, again, have any questions, comments, or want us to cover a certain topic that you're, like, thinking of,
yes,
again, reach out to us, please.
Comments below.
And I'm going to add another plug, and I'm going to say, hey, our goal is to get to be able to do this Facebook, or not Facebook Live. We were doing that for a while. YouTube Live. In order to get to YouTube Live, we need you to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to it. We need to get to 50.
50? Oh,
I think it's 50. We can do that. We have people that watch us all the time.
Yeah. You definitely have 50 on the podcast thingy. We'll just put in...
That's right.
Caption.
That's right. So if you're on Facebook and you follow us, or Instagram or wherever, go and click on the link that we're going to put into these YouTube, because we're going to upgrade or update these to YouTube, our channel, and then we're going to post them on our social media. And then you guys can go click on those links that will take you directly to the podcast, that you can listen to it and watch us live. You can also download the podcast and listen to it if you're in your car or any of that stuff. But if you get or see the link for the YouTube channel, go and subscribe to it, because we want to get live there so that you guys can actually watch us live on YouTube. And then we can set up anywhere and keep going and be live. So anyways, with that being said, guys, we will talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.
That was a really good one.